Fruits Basket is a legendary romance anime, and while I truly love some of the first few episodes, I have not finished the first season. I am currently stuck on episode 18, and I have been for a while now. There are plenty of excuses I could give you, but the main issue that I have with this romance anime is that it's too dramatic. What I mean is that each character seems to tell these brutal backstories where they were beaten and all their family died, and it's just too much, in my opinion. It's not that I can't handle tragedy, it's the fact that there is a point where a story can seem disingenuous, and I'm not saying that Fruits Basket is trying to use trauma dumps as character development. However, there's a trend of repetitive, heartbreaking stories. If one of those stories doesn't hit you emotionally, then it can end up as a big waste of time, honestly. The first example that comes to mind is Uwatani. I don't know if I can sympathize with a rebellious teenage girl who loved to commit violence. I'm also not saying that it would be impossible to create a likable underdog in that situation. I am saying that Uwatani doesn't inspire any sympathy from me personally. So since I did not really enjoy that arc, it was really hard for me to continue Fruits Basket in general. I started to notice the trend of trauma, and when I looked back, it seemed as though that's all the story does, simply telling you these horrific childhood experiences that force you into sympathy. It just doesn't sit right with me when I'm told that I should like this character because they didn't have a chance or are a product of their environment. Sure, some characters like Hattori have very interesting storylines, and I actually did a whole video on why I loved episode 5 so much. Fruits Basket has a very formulaic plot, and I'm not a fan of that style of writing. While I appreciate certain aspects of Fruits Basket, namely Tohru Honda's unbridled positivity and unstoppable extroverted energy, I cannot finish a show that doesn't allow me to breathe anything but these terrible backstories. Look, this show can really make you tear up, and I might eventually get through the whole thing, probably. However, I am not looking for an anime that's only plot device is forced tragedy. And what I mean by forced tragedy is that giving a character a sad backstory does not automatically make them a good character. It can sometimes lessen the character's maturity because the audience does not see them grow from any self-realization. It's all external. I admit, everyone has some sort of tragedy in his or her life, but I just don't feel like going into overdrawn exposition of one of the zodiacs again. Fruits Basket has an interesting premise, but there's not much entertainment value for me right now. I just keep exiting out of Crunchyroll every time I try to continue watching this anime.